You open your eyes, the world is muted. The sounds of the marketplace are distant, muffled by the heavy cloth over your mouth and nose. You feel the rough texture of your tunic against skin that is different. You hold up a hand and your breath catches. The familiar disfigurement is there. You are unclean, a leper. Your POV is from the ground, looking up at sandaled feet that quickly shuffle away from you. A mother pulls her child back. A vendor throws a coin in your direction, not to help, but to make you leave. Your voice, when you try to speak the required warning, is a hoarse rasp. Unclean. Unclean. This is your life. A life of invisible walls, of isolation so profound, it eats at your soul faster than the disease eats your body. You are the ghost everyone sees but pretends not to. Until today. Until today. The walk to the village outskirts is a daily pilgrimage of shame. Each morning I make this trek, my feet dragging through the dust, not toward anything, but away from everything. I live in a cave with others like me, a colony of the damned. We are ghosts to each other, mirrors of the same broken reflection. My world is viewed through a perpetual haze of distance. From 100 paces away, I watch families in the marketplace. I see the laughter I cannot hear, the embraces I cannot feel. The memory of touch is fading, the firm grip of a friend's hand, the soft brush of my mother's kiss, all dissolving into distant dreams like water through parched hands. The law is clear, Leviticus 13. You must live alone outside the camp.
We can try.
My disease is not just physical, it is a moral quarantine. People whisper that it is a punishment from God, a mark of sin, and after so many years of their averted eyes and hissed prayers, I've started to believe them. The physical pain is a constant companion, the numb patches on my skin, the sores that weep and will not heal. But that is nothing compared to the true agony, the existential erasure. I am not a person here. I am a warning, a walking symbol of decay, a lesson in what happens when divinity turns its back. Every interaction is a transaction of fear. Once a week, if I am lucky, someone leaves a handful of bread or a skin of water on a specific rock at the edge of the fields. I must wait until the giver has fled, until their silhouette disappears into the safety of the walls, before I can shuffle forward to claim it. My world has shrunk to the miserable space between my cave and that rock. The vast, open sky mocks me with its freedom. Hope? Hope is a luxury I cannot afford. It died a slow death, but I remember the day it was buried. It was the day my own family watched me walk away. The diagnosis was pronounced by the priest, his voice cold and formal. My wife's hand flew to her mouth. My children's eyes were wide with the terror I had put there. They did not run to me. They could not. The law forbade it. They stood at the threshold of our home, and I turned my back on them, on everything. Their tears were the last human emotion ever directed at me, not of love, but of grief and horror. Now, even my own tears feel alien, hot and shameful on my disfigured cheeks. In the cave, we rarely speak. What is there to say? We are living tombs, counting the days until the disease completes its work. The silence is broken only by coughs, or the occasional moan of pain in the night. We are a community of isolation, bound by the very thing that severs us from the world. The wind carries sounds from the village, the bleating of goats, the distant call to prayer, and each one is a needle in my heart. I am here, and I am there, and never the two shall meet. This is the life that has been carved out for me, a narrow existence defined by lack, by absence, by unclean, until today. Until today. The change began not with a sight, but with a sound. A whisper, carried on the wind that usually brought only taunts or the echoes of a life I could no longer live. It came from a new arrival in our cave, a man whose eyes still held a faint, dangerous spark. He spoke of a rabbi from Nazareth, Jesus. He told of a paralytic who walked, of blind eyes opened in Bethsaida. He spoke not just of teachings, but of touch, of hands laid upon the untouchable. At first, I buried the words under the familiar weight of my reality. Miracles were for Scripture, for the clean and the righteous behind their walls. They were not for the living dead in caves. But the whisper would not die. It passed among us in the dark, a fragile, glowing thing in the gloom. He is coming, they said. He is near our region. And with those words, a civil war erupted inside my soul. Despair, my old companion argued with a cold, practiced logic. To approach would be madness. The crowd would scatter or turn violent. To touch a holy man would be to defile him, a crime punishable by stones until my own broken body was silent. The voice hissed, "This is your ordained place. This is your punishment. Accept it." But then, another voice. Small, nearly extinguished, a memory of the man who once had a name. It whispered back, "What do you have to lose? What, in all this vast emptiness, do you truly have to lose?" The morning the rumor became fact, I was at my ridge, and my POV saw it. A distant cloud of dust on the road, a murmuring river of people, and at its heart, a single figure. I didn't need to be told. My soul knew him. The debate that had raged for days snapped into silence. A compulsion greater than fear, greater than shame, pulled at my very bones. It was not courage, it was the last, desperate convulsion of a drowning man. I stood. My legs, accustomed only to shuffling, trembled. I took one step down the hill, away from the cave, toward the road. Then another. My heart hammered against my ribs, a wild drum announcing either my doom or my deliverance. I did not walk with dignity, but with a staggering, clumsy gait, driven by a need I could no longer name. I was breaking every law, crossing every boundary. I was heading straight for the one man they said might not look away. The dust of the crowd grew closer, the noise a chaotic blend of hope and humanity I had been denied. I was walking back into the world, or toward my end. The noise of the crowd solidifies into individual shouts, then gasps, then a wave of horrified silence as I break through the last line of onlookers. A wall of faces contorts in revulsion. Unclean! Away from us! They stumble back, creating a wide, empty circle of dust around me. I am the contagion they fear. My legs give way. I do not fall from weakness, but from a final, total surrender. My face presses into the dirt, the taste of soil and shame on my lips. My POV is the ground, the sandaled feet of the crowd frozen at the edge of my vision. I cannot look up. I have no right. But from the depths of my ruined spirit, a cry is torn, not the mandated warning, but a plea from the man who once was. Lord? My voice is a shattered thing. If you are willing, you can make me clean. The world holds its breath. The jeers cease. The only sound is the ragged gasp of my own breathing. And then I see them. Feet. They do not retreat. They stop directly in front of me. Simple sandals, dusty from the road. Time stretches, thin and silent. Then a shadow falls over me. A hand touches my shoulder. The shock is absolute. It is a human hand, warm, solid, deliberate. The contact is a lightning strike through the deadened nerves of my body, a sensation so foreign and profound it steals what little breath I have. I have not been touched in years, not by a friend, not by family, certainly not by a holy man. The tremor starts deep in my bones and radiates outwards. I dare to look up. His eyes meet mine. There is no fear in them, no disgust, not even the distant pity I have come to expect. There is only a compassion so deep, so complete, it feels like looking into the sun after a lifetime of darkness. He sees me. Not the disease, not the warning, but me, the man buried beneath the decay. In that gaze, the invisible walls I have lived behind for years simply dissolve. He speaks, and his voice is the sound of creation itself. I am willing. 2 words that shatter my fate. Be clean. The command is not a wish, it is a decree. From the point of his touch, a wave of pure, cleansing fire floods through me. My POV turns inward. I feel it coursing up my neck, down my arms, through my legs. A rushing, tingling river of life chasing out the death. I look at my hands, still pressed into the earth. The white, scaly patches are receding, fading like mist under a morning sun. The skin smooths, the angry red of sores vanishes, the color returns to a healthy, living hue. The numbness is gone, replaced by a thrilling, almost painful awareness of every sensation. The very air on my skin feels new. Strength, a memory long forgotten, surges into my muscles. I'm being unmade and remade, right there in the dirt. And then the emotional tide hits, a tsunami that dwarfs the physical miracle. A sob racks my whole body, breaking from a heart I thought had turned to stone. It is a cry of release, of a weight lifted that I had long ago accepted as part of my soul. The shame, the isolation, the erasure, it all evaporates under the warmth of that hand, that gaze, those words. I'm clean. I'm clean. The words echo in the silence that has fallen over the crowd. I'm still on the ground, but now I'm pushing myself up, my hands, my new whole hands, pressing into the earth that no longer feels like my grave. His hand is still on my shoulder, a steady anchor in the whirlwind of my transformation. He helps me to my feet, his grip firm and sure. I stand, and for the first time in years, I stand tall. I look down at myself, at my tunic that now hangs on a body that is whole, strong, alive. I run my hands over my arms, my face feeling the smooth, unblemished skin. It is a miracle I can feel, a truth I can touch. Jesus looks at me, his eyes still holding that boundless compassion. He speaks, and his voice is low, meant for me alone amidst the stunned onlookers. See that you don't tell anyone, he says. But go, show yourself to the priest and offer the sacrifices that Moses commanded for your cleansing as a testimony to them. The instructions are clear. He is not just healing my body. He is restoring my place in the community, in the covenant. By going to the priest, I will be officially declared clean, able to rejoin my family, to worship, to live. He's sending me back through the very system that exiled me, but now as a witness, a testimony to his power and mercy. I nod, words failing me. Tears stream down my face, but they are tears of joy, of gratitude so profound it aches. I take a step back, and he releases my shoulder. The crowd parts silently, their faces a mix of awe, fear, and confusion. I walk through them, and no one recoils. No one shouts, "Unclean!" I'm just a man walking away from a miracle. My POV shifts to the road ahead. The same road I dragged myself down in shame this morning is now a path of liberation. The colors are vibrant. The deep blue of the sky, the golden dust of the road, the green of the distant fields. The air is sweet with the scent of wild herbs and life. Every sensation is amplified, a symphony after a lifetime of silence. I can hear the birds singing, the rustle of leaves, the distant laughter from the village. And now it is not a taunt, but an invitation. I walk, not with a shuffle, but with a stride. My muscles remember how to move with purpose. I am going home, not to the cave, but to the priest, to the temple, to the life I thought was lost forever. With each step, I feel the weight of my old identity falling away. I'm no longer the leper, the outcast, the ghost. I'm a man cleansed, restored, loved. As I walk, memories flood back, not of pain, but of life before the disease. The feel of my wife's hand in mine, the sound of my children's voices, the taste of bread shared at our table. These are no longer distant dreams. They are possibilities waiting to be reclaimed. The sun on my face feels like a blessing, a warmth that penetrates deep into my soul. I pass by the rock where scraps were left for me, and I pause. I touch it, not with desperation, but with a sense of closure. That chapter is over. I continue towards the village, and as I approach the gates, I see the guards. They look at me, and I see recognition dawn in their eyes, not of the leper, but of the man I once was. One of them steps forward, hesitant. "Is it you?" he asks. I smile, a genuine smile that feels strange on my face after so long. "It is," I say. "I have been cleansed." The wonder in his eyes is a mirror of my own. He steps aside, and I walk through the gates, back into the world that cast me out. The streets are familiar, yet everything is new. The market stalls, the houses, the people, all are part of a world I can now fully inhabit. I make my way to the priest's house, my heart pounding with a different kind of anticipation. Not fear, but hope. When I arrive, I knock, and when the priest opens the door, his eyes widen. He knows why I'm here. I show him my hands, my arms, my face. He examines me, his touch clinical but not unkind. Then he nods, and I see tears in his eyes too. "The Lord has done this," he whispers. "Go, offer your sacrifices. You are clean." I leave his house, and the world has never seemed so bright. I'm not just healed, I am reborn. Every step is a prayer of thanks, every breath a song of praise. I will go to the temple, offer the lambs and the oil, and stand before God as a clean man. The law that condemned me now celebrates my restoration. I am the leper no one would touch until Jesus did. And now I am touched. I am clean. I am whole. My testimony is sealed not in words, but in this new skin, this new life, this love that reached through the darkness and pulled me into the light. The road to the temple is no longer a path of exile, but a procession of grace. Each step is firm, each breath deep and clean. I carry the lambs and the oil not as a burden, but as a gift, the proof of my restoration written in the language of the law itself. The temple courts, once a place I could only yearn for from beyond the walls, now open before me. The noise of the sacrifices, the prayers, the scent of incense and burning offering, it all washes over me, and for the first time, I am part of it. I am not an observer from the shadows. I am a participant. I present my offerings to the priest on duty, my hands steady, my voice clear as I recount what has been done. He examines the certificate from the priest who first saw me, his nod solemn. The ritual is performed, the blood sprinkled, the oil applied. And when it is over, he pronounces the words I have dreamed of in my deepest despair. You are clean. You are restored to the community and to the worship of the Lord. The formal declaration echoes in the stone hall, and it feels like a second healing, a sealing of the miracle in the eyes of God and man. I walk out of the temple, and the sun seems to shine just for me. My POV takes in the Jerusalem streets, now a tapestry of life I'm woven back into. Children run past, and no one pulls them away. Men and women go about their business, and I am among them, invisible in the best way, just another man. But I am not just another man. I carry a secret, a fire in my bones. Jesus told me not to tell anyone, but my very presence is a testimony. I begin the journey home to Galilee. The walk is long, but every mile is a joy. I sleep in inns. I eat at tables with others. I share the road with travelers. The simple act of passing a cup from hand to hand, of hearing my own laughter mixed with that of strangers, these are miracles piled upon miracles. When I finally see the familiar hills of my home region, my heart swells. I do not go to the cave. I turn my steps toward the village, toward the house I left years ago. As I approach, I see her first, my wife, drawing water from the well. She looks up and her eyes widen. She drops the jar and it shatters on the ground, but she does not notice. She is running, her feet flying over the dust, and then she is in my arms. The embrace is a shock of pure, undiluted joy. I feel her tears on my neck, her hands clutching my back, feeling the solid muscle where once there was only decay. "It's you," she sobs. "It's really you." Our children, now grown, come hesitantly from the house. They remember a ghost, but they see a father. I open my arms and they come, one by one, and the circle of my family is whole again. The touch I had mourned as lost forever is now my daily bread. Life resumes, but it is new. I work in the fields, the soil under my nails a badge of honor. I worship at the synagogue, standing shoulder to shoulder with my neighbors. They all know. They have heard the story from the priest, seen my clean skin. Some look at me with awe, some with curiosity, some with a lingering fear that has not yet melted. But I meet every gaze with peace. I am living proof that the lines they thought divided the clean from the unclean, the worthy from the cursed, can be crossed by compassion. I do not speak of him often, but when I do, it is with a reverence that silences rooms. I simply say, "He touched me," and in those words everything is said. Years pass, the memory of that touch never fades. It is the lens through which I see everything. The kindness I show to the beggar at the gate, the patience I have with the sick, the love I pour into my family. I am a man who was dead and is alive again. Sometimes, in the quiet of the evening, I look at my hands, smooth and strong, and I remember the feel of his hand on my shoulder, the warmth, the certainty. It was more than a healing. It was a homecoming. My POV is now from within life, fully immersed in its mess and its beauty. I am the leper no one would touch, until Jesus did. And because he did, I touch the world differently, with hands that know what it is to be cleansed, with a heart that knows what it is to be loved out of the deepest darkness. My testimony is not just a story from the past. It is the air I breathe, the life I live, a quiet, constant song of gratitude that turns every ordinary moment into a prayer.